Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my WWE Fastlane predictions video with Jeff Meacham. It is up on the YouTube channel as well as NoDQ.com. With that being said, let's get down to your questions today. First one comes from James. What do you think about Wade Barrett leaving, and do you think that WWE missed out on a potential main event level heel? Please answer in video. Nothing is set in stone yet. There's still a possibility that when Wade Barrett's deal is up, he will sign a new contract. Maybe WWE will offer him more money, or maybe they will promise him a bigger push. Now, regarding him not being happy with his position, I definitely sympathize with him on that. I would say that Wade Barrett is among the most underutilized WWE stars in recent memory, and many people would point to Wade Barrett as an example of WWE dropping the ball with guys that had potential to be top-level stars. You look back at the Nexus angle, and it started off red hot when you had the Nexus members jump John Cena at the end of Raw, but then John Cena won at SummerSlam, and many would look at that as the beginning of the end for Wade Barrett's big push. And the final nail in the coffin would be Survivor Series, when WWE had this angle where John Cena was a reluctant member of Nexus, but then of course he did the right thing as the special guest referee, and he counted out Wade Barrett, and Randy Orton remained WWE champion, and that was the end of Wade Barrett's big push in WWE. So I definitely feel that there was something there with Wade Barrett, and WWE just missed the boat on it. Now, the other factor is injuries. Wade Barrett has gotten hurt a lot, and there have been times where WWE pushed him and then he got injured. So it is more difficult for WWE to invest in a superstar when they keep getting injured. It's just difficult for WWE to keep the momentum going. You know, once the guy is gone, they have other people on the roster that they put into those spots. So it's just an unfortunate set of circumstances, the combination of the injuries and the combination of WWE not really allowing Wade Barrett to reach his full potential. You know, it felt like he had momentum with the Bad News Barrett gimmick, and then they did the whole King of the Ring thing, and that was beyond lame. The whole King of the Ring angle, that could have been a new start for Wade Barrett, but instead they just made a joke out of it, and it never really went anywhere. And now that he's in League of Nations, he really has no purpose. He's just a body. He's just a guy on the roster, and that's it. So I could totally understand him being frustrated, and maybe he wants to do other things with his life. Alright, got this question here from Beast Slayer. Do you think that AJ Styles losing to Chris Jericho was a bad idea? I think it ruined his momentum, and it's too early for him to lose. If I thought that AJ Styles was going to be the guy in WWE, I would absolutely agree with that. But going in, I never expected AJ to get the main event push. Basically, what is happening with AJ Styles is completely what I expected. He's a new guy in the company, and he has to pay his dues. That's the WWE way. That's how they've been doing it for years and years. Whenever the new guy comes in, if he's established somewhere else, he has to pay his dues in the WWE and prove that he can perform at the WWE level. So that is their attitude. And the other attitude is that Chris Jericho is Chris Jericho. He should be winning some matches. He is an all-time legend in the business. He's the first undisputed champion, the guy that beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night. So one can argue that it would make sense for Jericho to be able to beat AJ Styles every now and then, and in any given match, anybody can win at any time. You know, that whole philosophy. You know, I have mixed feelings about it. I do feel that it probably will not hurt AJ. I think that if AJ goes out there and does what AJ does best, he will overcome whatever the booking is in WWE. He will overcome 50-50 booking if he goes out there and has show-stealing performances every night, which I'm confident he will. So I'm not too worried about AJ Styles' future in WWE, but I think for people out there that were expecting AJ to maybe main event WrestleMania and feud with Triple H for the WWE title, yeah, those people are going to be disappointed that he's losing matches. But, I mean, those were unrealistic expectations to begin with, quite frankly. Alright, this one comes from Mario. Do you think that plus huge merchandise sales will make Triple H push AJ to main event status? That's the thing about paying dues and just seeing how the character progresses in the company. I think that if AJ continues to connect with the fans and WWE makes money off of him, that will absolutely increase the chances of him getting a push down the line. But it's not like they are going to bring in a guy who's untested in their company and give him this monster push right away without him proving himself in the company first. I mean, that has been WWE's way of doing business now for so many years. And AJ Styles is no exception. They signed him. They brought him to the main roster. He was able to skip NXT. So to me, that was a great deal, and that shows that the company does respect what he's done outside of WWE. So to me, that's a positive, and I think, like I said, if his merchandise sells well and he continues to put on great performances, he will succeed in WWE. He will be a big star, no question. Alright, this one comes from Dylan Donald. Please answer in video, first time asker. Do you see AJ Styles becoming the new Daniel Bryan if the casual WWE viewer gets behind him? Absolutely. The fact is, the internet fans are already supporting AJ Styles. He has already won those people over, and when WWE goes into the big cities like Chicago, AJ is going to be guaranteed a huge reaction. And if he continues to go out there and have great matches, everybody else will catch on. You know, they will all jump on the bandwagon, just like with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan had this huge cult following. He came into WWE. He put these great efforts every night, and he won over all the fans, not just the hardcore fans, but the casual fans as well. So I'm sure that AJ Styles will succeed if he's allowed to go out there and do his thing, and he puts in the effort every night. He will be a major star, and he very well could be the next Daniel Bryan, the ultimate underdog, you know, the guy that doesn't fit the typical mold of a main event WWE star, but because he's so damn good, he will overcome all those odds and still be a major force in the company. Alright, this one comes from Ron. Which face would you turn heel, and which heel would you turn into a face, and why? And do you see The Miz as world champion again? Miz is world champion? No. Now, regarding who I would turn face, that would be Bray Wyatt, because I feel he's really done all he can do as a heel, and I think him as a babyface character would give his character a fresh start. And, you know, people are already cheering for the guy as it is. They like his entrance. They think he's a cool character. So I definitely see him gaining some momentum as a babyface. You know, as a heel, he's really done all there is to do. And I feel that he already peaked as a heel. I feel that no matter how much they make him this scary heel, he's not going to have the credibility as a heel that he did a couple years ago. That's just my take on it. And regarding who I would turn heel from babyface, I think the answer is obvious. Roman Reigns or Dean Ambrose. I've been saying Ambrose for the longest time. Yes, he does get great crowd reactions, but I feel that lunatic fringe gimmick would be so much more interesting if Dean Ambrose was a heel character. Once again, that's just my opinion on it. Roman Reigns, for the obvious reason that he's not connecting with the fans as a babyface, at least some of the fans. Obviously, there are the Roman Reigns fans out there, the fangirls, the kids, they all love him. You know, that whole I can, I will thing that motivates people. So, you know, some people love Roman Reigns, but he still gets a lot of boos. So as a babyface, he's not completely working in terms of connecting with the majority of the audience. So I would turn him heel and see where it goes. But, you know, the company's hell-bent on a top babyface superstar, and Roman Reigns is that guy. So they're going to do what they're going to do. But I would go with at least turning one of them, either Reigns or Ambrose. Alright, this one comes from Carl Johnson. Hey Aaron, please answer in video. What does it mean to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Is it just an honor, or do inductees get money for it? I think that means keep up the good work, but I could be wrong. I'm assuming that's what it is. Yeah, basically the Hall of Fame is WWE promoting themselves, and yes, it is an honor to the superstar, but it's more about WWE doing another event for WrestleMania weekend. It's more about boosting WWE as a brand and saying, hey, look, we honor our past superstars and we have this rich history. So there is a motive to doing it besides just strictly honoring somebody in the past. But yes, besides being honored in the Hall of Fame, I believe they do get paid a small amount of money, but it's mainly for the honor. And, it doesn't hurt to be called a Hall of Famer, especially if you're still working independent dates, if you're doing autograph signings or public appearances. When you're a Hall of Famer, you can use that Hall of Fame name to get more people coming to your events, and you make more money that way as a Hall of Famer. So it does help. It is a financial gain to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. All right, this one comes from Camilo. Do you think that Chris Jericho being a musician and a wrestler at the same time affects his wrestling career? Please answer in video. No, because it's not like he's doing both of them at the same time. And he's been doing Fozzy now since the late 90s. He's been doing the band for a very long period of time. And, when he's doing the music, he likes to focus on the music and take time away from WWE. And likewise, when he has downtime, when the band's not touring, he can come back in and focus on wrestling again. So, if he was doing both at the same time, I would say that it affects his wrestling career. But, it really doesn't. They do not mix together. He keeps his music life separate from his WWE life. He focuses on one at a time. And, that's the way to do it. And, I think if anything's affecting his wrestling career is just the fact that, he's getting up there and it doesn't really feel like he's doing anything fresh with his character, although he really doesn't need to at this point. He is a legend and he's only around on a part-time basis, so there's no need for him to try and reinvent his character again. I just feel what he's doing is fine. He comes in, he can help work with some of the younger talent like AJ Styles, and then go back and do Fozzy again. Seems like a good situation. That way he's not overexposed either as a WWE talent. All right, this one comes from Ravishing_Raven. Would you bring back Goldberg for 2 final matches, Brock at WrestleMania and Ryback at Survivor Series, or maybe SummerSlam, before possibly going into the Hall of Fame? I guess you could bring back Goldberg for one more match, but honestly, I think the ship has sailed with doing a Goldberg versus Ryback match. I think it's too late for that. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, that's interesting, considering the reaction at WrestleMania 20. Would that really be wise to do that match again? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure who else you would put Goldberg against. I mean, really, the only 2 guys that make sense are Brock Lesnar, maybe Roman Reigns. Maybe you could do Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. Maybe Goldberg versus John Cena. I mean, I guess you could. If he was going to go into the Hall of Fame, let him wrestle one more time. The story is that, he wants to see his son be able to watch his dad in one more match. So you could do one more match with him. I'm just not really sure who you would put him against. All right, this one comes from Grant Peoples. Why do you think that the Bret Hart versus Hulk Hogan match never happened in the early 90s? I think it was because Hulk Hogan did not want to job to Bret Hart. I mean, Bret Hart was being pushed as the new face of the company, and then the idea was it was going to be Bret Hart versus Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam, and the story is that Hogan felt Bret Hart was incredible enough to be beating him, so he opted to drop the title to Yokozuna instead and take off. But I think what happened also was Hogan won the title at WrestleMania 9, and then business really did not pick up. There were expectations that Hogan would come in and WWE would get out of their slump and they'd be doing huge business again, and that wasn't the case. So I think Hogan realized that and realized, it was time to get out rather than just stick around and then end up putting over Bret Hart. He could just leave by losing to the big guy and then do what else he was going to do, and then, eventually, of course, go to WCW. His only loss was that cheap finish with the photographer costing him the match against Yokozuna. All right, this one comes from Ghost Bookseller. I like that name. Reading the Death of WCW book, I got intrigued about the finish of the Starrcade 97 pay-per-view. What really happened there? Please answer in video. What was supposed to happen was a recreation of Montreal, a parody of the Montreal Screwjob. Basically, Nick Patrick would do a fast count, and then of course Bret Hart would come out and say that he's not going to let this happen again, and then the match would restart and Sting would win. But unfortunately, Nick Patrick didn't get the memo to do the fast count. And that has led to all the speculation about what happened there. How could Nick Patrick make that mistake? Was it just a mistake, or did Hogan have something to do with it so he would not look weak losing to Sting? It's been debated. People have had different stories about what happened, and who knows? Who knows for sure what really went down? But, going back to that other question, with Hogan, there's all these interesting circumstances, and you wonder what kind of games Hogan might be playing backstage to protect his image. So, everybody can make their own conclusion about what happened, but yeah, whatever the case is, it was really bad for WCW. That was their biggest match ever. I believe it might have been their biggest pay-per-view buy rate. It was either that or the 98 Great American Bash with Rodman and Karl Malone. I'm not sure which one. I don't recall exactly which one was the biggest, but that was really WCW's biggest match. They spent over a year hyping it up, and then they totally botched the finish of their biggest pay-per-view ever. So, either way, it was a disaster for WCW and Sting's character. Alright, so that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding Fastlane. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Share this video on Facebook and Twitter. And one last thing, you see I'm wearing the Mario shirt here. Growing up, I was a huge Super Mario fan. I had all the systems, NES, Super NES, and recently they put out Super Mario Maker on the Wii U, and I've been addicted to that game. And I haven't played video games much in the past decade, but this game, I'm obsessed with it, and I made a bunch of levels on there. Great nostalgia. So if you want to check it out, I've left a link to my bookmark page in the description box if you're a Super Mario Maker fan. I even have a couple of wrestling themed levels on there, so check that out. Also, the profile name is just Aaron Rift if you go on it that way. So yeah, that's it for NoDQ&A video today. Stay tuned for all the latest, and I will see you guys next time.